Hey, ladies, welcome to another Self-Love Conversations. You know, we are back and we are still celebrating some amazing women as we come to a close of 2022 and going into 2023. And I have an amazing woman here that is going to talk to you tonight about self-care and also how you need to structure your life in 2023. And her amazing name is Hanna. She's an author, she's a speaker, she's a founder. And Hanna has wrote an amazing book and co-authored its Mom Magic. Is that correct?
It is Mom Magic Mompreneur.
Oh my God. And we're so happy to talk to you today. So Hanna, how are you?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here.
And so my first question for you is we're closing out the end of the year, right? Here we go again.
Mhm.
Everybody does this thing. What do? We set goals. We say we're going to lose weight. We're going to work on our finances. We're going to make sure that we get the people out of our lives. And then we start that journey. 2 months later, 3 months later, we fall back into it, right? When you bring in the idea of self-care, first, it's just a whole mindset thing, but what do you think is missing where there's so many people setting these goals and making this and making these big promises to themselves and they don't follow through?
Accountability. I think that society has said, oh, well, we're going to end the year and we're going to start the new year off right. And so we make all these unrealistic New Year's resolutions or expectations. We follow what everybody's putting into the media and even social media. It's like women are trying, we're on this hamster wheel. We're trying to stay up with the time, so to speak, or the new things that are coming out. And we forget what it is that we really need to do. And that is be realistic with ourselves. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like we are always in competition with others, thinking, oh, wow, that person has it together. So what do I have to do? And I think just, it's accountability. It's looking for, I don't want to say self-judgment, but women especially, we feel like we have to be ahead of the rest, so to speak. It becomes a stress. So
Yeah.
when we put these unrealistic goals or these resolutions or these expectations on ourselves, really we're setting up for failure instead of
And
setting up to go into the new year with something different.
and I think social media just makes it so much harder because you have these people who are posting their vision boards and they're posting, what they are going to do, and they need accountability, and who wants to be the accountability partner with them to go to the gym, and all these things be happening. But I always say to myself, like, there isn't any post that's saying that they're going to work on themselves, that they're going to try to be the best version of themselves, that they're going to try to figure out what they want, what their passions are. It's always these outside things that they believe they can take care of, and the reason why it don't work is because you're not working on the inside, right?
Agree. Agree. If
Right.
you're empty on the inside, how can you do anything else? So another thing we put on ourselves is guilt.
Oh, yeah.
If we choose ourselves first, that makes us guilty. We're selfish, we're this, we're that. But is it really? Because if you're not full on the inside and you're not feeling well, if you're not operating to your 100% fullness, how can you help others? How can you pour into them? How can you do anything for anyone, including love someone else, when you don't even love yourself or care for yourself? If it's
No,
a deflection.
oh, go ahead. I'm listening.
No, I was just going to say, when we don't love or care for ourselves and we don't make ourselves our first priority, and we put all of our attention on items, other things that really don't matter, or we put it on someone or people, it's really
Right.
a deflection of us having to look within and see, like, okay, what is it that I need? because we don't want
Exactly.
to know. Sometimes we don't want to get honest with ourselves.
Exactly. And so, how did you get to this point in your life? Like, I always ask that question because, you know, we all have a story and we all have a journey, right? For everything that you're doing now, being a author, a speaker, and helping women understand just truly, you know, more about themselves. What are the things that happened to you that got you to this point?
There were a couple things. One was a health diagnosis. One was um losing something that meant everything to me. And the last was the anger and disappointment in myself that I just finally said enough is enough. I can't do this anymore. There were some very dark moments in my life. And as you mentioned, everyone has a story. Everyone's gone through something, but it's what you do with it. It's the lesson, and it requires you to really like dig deep and say, okay, what is it that I'm meant to learn here? What is it that I'm meant to understand so that I don't continue that same process or those same habits or whatever it is? What is it that I need to do to change my life? No one else can change your life for you. No one else can take care of you in the self-care form or love you more than
Mhm.
you can do it yourself. So self-care, self-love, you have to show people, teach people how you want to be treated, how you want to be cared for. But before you can even do that, you have to do it for yourself. And sometimes it takes that smack from life to really just get your attention and say, okay. And then there's a ton of women, and I was one of them, who didn't listen to the first few smacks,
Right,
and it got real. And I'm like, okay, so what do I need to do different? How do I need to treat myself? How do I want to be treated? How do I
right.
care for me? How do I want others to care for me? It's a
Yeah.
process.
I always, speak with women and I tell them, why wait till you have to hit rock bottom in order to change? But it's like it seems like, Hannah, and you can let us know when you're in it, when you're in the situations and when things are happening to you, you really don't know how to get out. You really start to rationalize with yourself, like maybe it's not that bad. You start to look around and you say, well, maybe this is all life has to bring to me. Where when you do hit that rock bottom where you have nothing left, something just goes off in your head, right? Where you're like, I know this is not my life. Like, I know this is not it for me. I know it has to be something better. And what we tend to do is we put ourselves in these situations where because we don't like ourselves, because we don't love ourselves, we try to seek it out with other people and things. And then we hold those people and things to a higher standard than what we would even hold ourselves to, right? And then when it doesn't work out for us, we're saying to ourselves, like, oh, I don't understand why this person doesn't love me, why I'm not here in my life, is because it has something to do with you, right? So I want you, if you can, to explain to the women the concept of self-love and what self-care really means, because on the internet is get your toes done, get your nails done. Go get a massage.
If only that was it.
Right.
Stress would be solved.
Okay.
We wouldn't have gray hair. Um,
Okay.
it's funny because again, it goes with the stigma of, oh, if you use Calgon, you'll be stress free. Oh, if you use
Yeah.
lavender, you rub your hands and smell your hands. Essential oils, all great tools, by the way, they do help.
Mhm. Mhm.
But women have to get in front of the issue and reach within and stop being complacent with where they are. They also have to really understand their power and what they were put here on planet Earth for. It's a purpose. They have to understand what their passion is. If they don't, then they should take some time to find it. Self-love and self-care require a lot of mindset exercises. Meditation is a real thing.
Yes.
Journaling and understanding who you are, what you are meant to do. You know, we're all born into power, abundance, gifts, talents, all these different things. But do we know what they are? Do each one of us
Mm,
understand what they are and what they're meant for? You know, I don't believe that we were put here to live in a complacent way or to be anxious or depressed or feeling unworthy or looking for self-validation. All of those things put stress on us. So real self-care and real self-love comes from honoring yourself, really understanding who you are, loving yourself through all your flaws. Stop the comparison. You know, some people are like, oh, I wish I looked like her. Oh, I wish I had her nose. I'm like, leave her there. You have
yeah.
nose. You look like you. Embrace who you are and love you for all the flaws, for all of it, for the perfect storm that you are. And
Mhm.
act accordingly. And self-care also doesn't mean that a bubble bath is going to heal it in a night with Netflix. You know what that does? Puts the Band-Aid on for a little while. You get your feel good, you eat your chocolate, you eat your ice cream, and then you feel good, right? But what
Right.
happens when you wake up the next day and you're in the same thing again? Or what about the women who are in fight, flight, or freeze mode? There's no peace, there's no understanding, there's no comfort. So you got to figure out what that is. You got to really dig deep. And that requires alone time. That requires telling, if you have children, hey guys, I'm going to take some time out for me, and setting boundaries. If you're married, if you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, if you have this job that just stresses you out, you got to put the boundaries and you got to spend some time alone, and you really got to understand who you are. What do you want? What do you want your life to look like? Prayer. I'm a huge prayer. Prayer is a thing. It works.
Yeah.
Meditation, affirmation, you know, and yes, making healthy choices in terms of what are you putting in your body, eating wise, drinking wise, of course.
Yeah.
Because if you're living strictly off of caffeine, well, when we hit the crash, what happens? You know, is it perfect? No, life is not perfect. We're not perfect. So understanding that we're always a work in progress, it's progress, not perfection. Um, stop walking around with guilt and shame that isn't even yours to carry. Let it
Right.
go, like breathe, you know, and stop looking for the next, okay, what am I doing next? Embrace the now, where you are,
Mm,
and stop being anxious for the future, but really embrace where you are now, and go through it. If you're feeling sad, feel it, but try to
yeah.
figure out what it is, you know, ask for help. Why don't more people ask for help? That's what I want to know. Everybody's,
I don't know.
it's
It's,
a sign of
you
weakness.
know,
No, it's not. It's a sign of
yeah.
strength. If you recognize something's going on with your self-care and your self-love, and you're asking for help, that is huge. You're
Hmm.
a warrior pushing through, saying, hey, I can't do it all alone. I need some help. That's strength. That's not weakness, ladies.
I think Hannah, even traveling, this week and last week and talking to women, the biggest thing was showing up,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
showing up. And that is the thing that I encountered the most, having the women show up and just listen, right? Because you're worried about who's there. You're worried if you do show up for help to reach out that people will be in your business and you don't want this. And like I tell them, I'm like, if you want the healing and you want the growth,
Mm-hmm.
then you want to be able to show up and be vulnerable enough to understand that it is important that you start your journey. And I want to go back to something when you are talking to the moms out there and what self-care looks like. Can you
Mhm.
speak to them for a second? Because they will tell you, Hannah, I don't know what she's talking about. I have these young kids, or I have these kids, and my life is them right now. That's
Mhm.
what I have to do. There is no time for me. What would you say to them?
I would say there's always time for us moms. I'm a mom of five.
Wow.
I have lots of grandkids. I have a
Yeah.
husband. I have a full house to run and a business. And I still find time for me. So it goes back to what I was saying, especially to the mamas. So mamas have magic.
Yeah.
And the magic is we have these magical powers. And I believe one of them is patience. I believe one is understanding. I believe one is trust. One is love. So all those mom magic powers, all those different things that you shoot out to your children, to your family, to your closest friends, why wouldn't you give it to yourself first? Even if it's only 30 minutes a day, the very powers and the love and all those different things that you give to others, why wouldn't you give it to yourself first? So I would start small. I would set small goals and tell these mamas, number one, you're amazing. Number two, start with a small, realistic goal. Every day, the first thing you do when you get up, don't pick up your phone.
Yeah.
Don't pick up your phone. Do something that you love. If it's writing, if it's dancing, if it's singing, whatever it is, if it's prayer, whatever it is that lights your soul on fire, that should be the first thing you do. And so setting those small little steps, knowing, okay, maybe I only have 5 minutes today, but it's the best 5 minutes I'm going to spend on me. So what does that look like? Asking themselves, what is it that I want? What do I want? And how am I going to get it? And chances are, um, the more time they spend with themselves, just like the more time I spend with myself. Hobbies are a thing for me. If I
Yeah.
don't have that personal time or that hobby, my hobby is writing. I love to write. So for me, it's calming. So I know like I have to be with my snuggie. I have to light candles. I have to have a good cup of coffee. And I have like this little, I don't want to say ritual, but it is, to
Yeah.
prepare myself. And I lock my door and I tell him, you're not coming in here and I'm not going out there. So you do you, I'm going to do me, and we'll catch you later. Now it is harder with younger kids. So, and I was that single mama for a while. So I loved bedtime. I loved nap time. And I took that time to say, okay, now it's me. Even if it's, if I had a glass of wine, like the kids are to bed, everybody's safe, doors are locked, we're good. Now it's my time. And I take that time and I embrace it and I love it and I honor it because that is my time. So we have it. When someone says, I don't have time, they do. We were all born with the same amount of days, hours, time, minutes, seconds, all of it. We all
Mhm.
get it. So it's really having that boundary and setting that time for yourself, which goes back to what I said, accountability. You
Yeah.
have to be accountable for you. Nobody
I,
else more than you.
I really hope you ladies are listening to what she's saying because, I never understood why my grandmother would get up so early. Like, if we had to get up at 7, she was up at 5, and we were still asleep. But what I came to know is she got up that early so that she can make her some tea, she can read her devotionals, she can, just use the bathroom and get herself together, right? And then when it was time, she would always wake us up at the same time, but at least she had 2 hours for herself. And then while we were in school, she had that time to herself. And then, when we went to bed, that was kind of like the chill time. So I never understood why she got up and how important it was to take that me time. But I see now, with 6 kids, right? Because I was raised by my grandmother, where she needed that time to kind of get her day started. So I think that is very important, you
Well,
know.
is a very wise woman because I that's what I do. I'm between a 4 a.m.er and a 5 a.m.er. Everybody's
Mhm.
still asleep. My youngest is 10. Because when she wakes up, it's like there's like this alarm that goes off. Then we're
Yeah,
in like, okay, we got to get Sophia dressed. We got to get her to school. We got to this, we got to that. And it's like once that alarm sounds, then I go into mom mode, get her to school. Then I go into my work mode. What's on my work mode, you know? Um, so those 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, are my time to do what I need to fill me up. You know, it's kind of like the old saying, I mean, but it's true. Do you run the day or does the day run you?
absolutely. So what do you have coming up? What are some of the things that you're working on?
Oh my goodness. Like I don't even know where to start. Well, I have some solo books coming out in 2023. I have home decor, office decor, and decor for authors coming out in Target in 2023. Um,
Congratulations.
thank you. With She Rises, we're launching our women's television network show that I'm pretty excited about. We have lots of summits and workshops planned. You know, my goal for 2023 is to really continue to propel. I want to elevate, celebrate more women. Um,
Absolutely.
and I want them to understand how incredibly important they are, that
Mm,
we are so powerful, that we have so much strength, and even in our weakest of times we're still strong, you know, and not to be afraid to ask for help. Self-care, self-love isn't it, you can't do it all alone. You
mm,
have to have that help. So, you know, I would say women, get involved with groups, with your she tribe. Find your she tribe.
mm.
um Align with women who can help you, can give you that unconditional love and understanding that we need, you know, because at the end of the day we're always going to need somebody else to say, hey, come on, come with me, you know, especially on those hard days. So that's what's coming up for me in 2023. I'm looking currently right now for a property, because I want to open up a shelter for battered women and children. It's something
Wow.
that's been in the works for some time, and I'm ready to take the leap. So
Oh, that is amazing. So how can we follow you to keep up with everything that you're doing, just in case some of us want to get involved?
yeah, so at She Rises Studios, that is where you will see me. Anywhere She Rises Studios. And I am very interactive with anyone.
Mm,
I love meeting new women, mamas. Um, we just, you know, we're always wanting to help as much as possible. So at She Rises Studios. And personally, on my personal list,
yeah,
I'm very excited. What I'm going to be doing in May is I'm going to get to go. I'll be married 10 years,
yeah.
and I'm going to Puerto Rico with my handsome husband. So,
Ah,
and that's the me time.
I
So
know that's right.
that's some us time. And that is important too. If you're in a relationship, you have to focus on that too, because you don't want to lose what you have. And I have an amazing husband. So I can't wait. I'm like, are we there yet? Is it almost me? I'm so excited. So, you know.
Oh man. So Hannah, thank you so much for just dropping these little nuggets on us, and I appreciate it. And we can all follow you at She Rises Studios. That's the website, that's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's everything.
That is everything.
Wow. So again, thank you so much for being here and I appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
All right. You have a good night. Bye.